casually hang out for a few seconds?
Sure, we can casually hang out.
Just to see.
Just casual, awkward hangout.
Super cash. I was gonna use my Illinois mug, but that one
Oh,
was dirty, but it was hanging up in the clean section, which really, like, fortifies my belief that the dishwasher is a farce.
but okay, so I was watching one of your videos, though. I went back and watched one where you showed, like, all of your coffee mug, your whole collection,
Yes.
that you have one of those from everywhere.
Like,
Um,
so many.
yeah, so but if they're hanging out in the open, like, would they get, like, a little, like, dusty, or does that
Yeah, probably if I didn't cycle through them so quickly. That certainly wasn't dust. Like, there was
ah,
probably drops on the rim, but we did
gotcha.
have a moment where I told my kids to empty the dishwasher, so they were just doing it, and those were not clean dishes. So
Yeah.
I had to go
Oh,
find most of them and run them again, and I just ran all the silverware because I that was hard to tell, but the majority of the plates I could tell which ones, and
sure,
so
we're
I
not
think that mug may have just been missed.
lost in the yeah. Uh-oh. Oh, there's the puppies. Good times.
Love
So
that.
so we're probably just for the live well, the maybe the live replay viewers who watch later, we're
Love
probably
that.
gonna hear some dogs, probably gonna hear some children. Yep, there they come. Neighbors are walking by. This is
It's all
fantastic.
part of motherhood, how it goes.
Part of life. But all right. Well, you know what? I think I'm just gonna go ahead and do an intro, and then
Love it.
I'm just gonna do it for the replay friends. So
Yay.
yay! So um, we have Beth with us from Feral Tradwife. Yay! I'm so
Hi.
excited. She was
I'm super
kind
happy.
enough. Yay! Yeah, she was kind enough to have me on her channel last week. We did a live. It was really fun, and so I thought we would try it here. My very first live. Excited. No one is here yet, but that is a-okay. We are just
I'll come
gonna
right in.
come along and do our thing. So I am excited to talk to you because I just want to know more. I want to know more. I want to chat more about, I mean, we've chatted, offline quite a bit back and forth, but I guess I just want to know more about what you think about being a homemaker now in 2024.
Yeah, it's
There's so many options. There's, actual trad wives. There's
right.
whatever you're doing. There's whatever I'm doing. Like,
Hey, I'm trad wiping. Trad wiping so
yeah,
hard.
with sass, with sass.
Right?
I saw your video today, and I was like, why are you making your own vanilla extract? Like, that is a lot of work. You can go to
You
the
know, and the
store.
thing is, it's not supposed to be any work. Like, you shove the vanilla beans in there and, like, every once in a while shake it while it's in your pantry, and it's supposed to sit in
Yeah.
the dark, and that's it. And somehow I failed at that. I just think if the ratio was off, I went real big on the vodka. I just bought so much. You should have seen the look on their face when they were selling me those 2 huge jugs of vodka. They were just like, "Oh, you're in danger. Like, there's something wrong." And I was like,
Right, like, good luck. Like, do you want a bottle
"Sorry,
of
just a
water to go with
casual
this?
Tuesday for me to drink 3 gallons of vodka."
I
Um,
mean,
but yeah, so it's just one of those things that's, like, easy to do, and actual vanilla extract's so expensive.
right.
And I just want to, like, flex on people, be like, "Oh, I made this on my own. Thank you. Here's your
Right.
baked good from the
Okay.
kindness of my heart."
That is good of reason as any, right? Just for
Yeah.
the flex.
So what I think about being a homemaker, like modern time homemaker, is
Yeah.
I used to feel like I needed to apologize or explain. I needed to do
Mm,
one of the two, where I'm like, "Oh, the reason I'm this is because of other circumstances," or, "I'm sorry that this is whatever." It just felt like it was not the correct choice, no matter which way it was sliced. And
mm,
I have this really strong memory. I was talking to my friend's husband. They were neighbors of ours, and she, like, worked remotely for Spain. So her hours were bonkers. And so he was
sure.
more he did have a career. He was a photographer, but he was more the active school drop off parent. This is when my kids went to school. Um, and he was like, "Oh, what would you do if you didn't have to be a stay at home mom?" And I was like, this is not my this is my plan. This is what I
Right.
wanted. It's not what happened to me." So
Mm,
it does feel weird to try to do this. And also it's hard to go up against all the cosplay tradwifery out there.
yeah,
Um, which kind of mocks me a little bit. And some of it's not. Some of it, these people are out there being authentic and
right,
are just getting dragged for it. But then there's definitely the whole cosplay aspect of being, a
right.
state.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it is so interesting. I haven't delved too deeply into the trad wife stuff. I mean, I'm like peripherally aware of the
Mhm.
controversy around it, right? And I was listening to somebody earlier today talk about it, and she was just like, like, if good for you if you're 22, 23, and you just got married and you want to share your life on the internet, like that's beautiful, you're
Yeah.
gorgeous, like you go girl. But maybe don't try and tell everyone else how they have to live when
Yes,
you
that's such
haven't
a hard
even like
part of
lived
it.
your life.
Sorry, I'm just trying to fix something because
That's
I'm
okay.
wildly unprofessional.
That's okay.
But I was
This is
looking
not a professional setup here. We are just living life. I
messy
mean,
all
you
of the
might
time.
be generally, but
Oh, no, I am not. That's like my whole vibe. If you start out poor and crappy at your job, nobody expects much of it.
that
Mm,
is the way to go. Hello, I'm seeing hearts. So hello, if you guys want to chat,
Hi,
we're happy to
people.
talk with you. We love you.
Yes, definitely love. Okay, there. That's a little bit. I had like a side documentary glare on me. I didn't want it to be that serious,
Right, you're being interrogated.
right? I was relying on God's gift of the sun, but that was taken from us 10 seconds ago. But I do think the storm's passed, so that's good.
Oh, good. Yes, Beth was having some serious thunder for a little bit before we went live.
It was kind of nice.
Yeah. I know we've had some really good storms out here recently too. I kind of like it. Like the Midwest storms are I don't know what the South is like, but I grew up in LA and we had like wimpy storms.
Yeah,
Here it's like house
storms. And
shaking. Yeah.
I was stalking your weather earlier, and you were in for it, babe. It's coming, apparently.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
batten down the hatches.
As long as it gets rid of the extreme heat, I'm good. I can't stand the humidity, but
It's
anyway.
so much.
I know you love hot weather talk, but
Sorry, I just want to
I
talk
know
about it.
that's your thing. So I get it. Oh boy, I also have a fire like a smoke alarm that's probably gonna beep. So that's super fun.
Love
This
that.
just it's great. Uh I think one of the things that I was thinking about lately is I like for me, being a stay-at-home mom was also a choice. Like it's something I wanted to do. Although, now I started a business and I'm working, but it's only really honestly like 2 mornings a week. So I'm mostly still home. But it is not what I expected. Like this is
Right.
not the life like I think the idea of wanting to be home to raise my own children, like that was appealing
Yes.
to me, right? Like I wanted to be there for them and I was very fortunate that like we were able to make that work because I
Right.
do think it's kind of a privilege at this point in this economy.
Very much so.
Yeah, but I didn't take into account, like, all of the other stuff that comes along with being, like, I don't know, with a mom, a wife, a homemaker, whatever. Because I didn't really see that happening when I was growing up, you
Right.
know? I had one friend who had a mom who was, like, a very traditional housewife, and her house was always perfect, there was never any clutter. She made like, every meal I had at her house was homemade from scratch, like, I never
Crazy.
had, like, mac and cheese, we never ordered pizza, like, she was cooking from scratch. But other than her, like, every mom I saw was like my mom, like, they were out of the house, they were working, they were whatever. So I didn't really see, like, what it took to keep up with a household.
Right.
What
Yeah.
what was that like for you? Like, what was your if you don't mind, like, what was your model of
So,
this?
when I was quite young, my parents divorced. So I had two homes, and they
Mm,
were wildly different situations
okay.
in on themselves. Like in one, it was a very like a privileged lifestyle, and we were upper middle class in a very impoverished area.
Mm,
So even though we weren't like how a lot of wealthy people seem, we were wildly wealthy in
right.
comparison, like there just wasn't a lot of insecurity there. So in that side, like we had, it was my dad's side, and I was the woman of the house for the longest time.
Mm,
Like he had other relationships, but I was like the dominant force. So I was cleaning, and weirdly
okay.
tidy in that home. I was very tidy.
Okay.
I would have the kitchen cleaned up at the end of the night, stuff like that. And, it was wildly sexist, but I would do the home stuff. And my brother was doing outside stuff. Like he was doing
Okay.
yard work, he was getting things done. I would think he
Your
had it
dad
way.
had it made.
Oh, yeah. My brother had it way worse. And so, my dad is away and working so hard and doing like all of the work. And then at my mom's, I lived on a very rural ranch,
Mhm.
and I was wildly messy. I That's my true personality. Like that, my current level of clutter and
Right.
mess was exactly what my childhood room was
Mm,
then. And I grew up like planting a garden, and you would make your own vanilla and sourdough, and you produce like you canned and all of those things. Like that's another experience that I had. So while my mom did work outside of the home, it was a
mhm.
very like cottage core lifestyle before it was
Right.
really busy.
Right,
Um,
like, for real, like, you were doing it, like
we were like, if you ran out of milk, it was 45 minutes to the nearest anything, to include
Right,
my high school. Um,
right.
and so, like, it just, you had it or you made it. You had to have backlogs of stuff, and you had to be prepared. And like, we had cows, we'd slaughter our cows, so we had beef and stuff like that. So I'm very familiar with that part. I just kind of lost it somewhere, and I'm coming back into it, and I'm really enjoying that
Mm.
part.
Yeah, that's so interesting that you had kind of both, right? That's
Very
so
weird.
yeah. Yeah, that's cool, though, and I think it makes for anybody who watches your channel or who hopefully will if you haven't already, I think that makes a lot of sense, like, how you're kind of living right now, right? And how you're kind of struggling a little bit, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's up to you, like, this is just you, you don't have this other I mean, your husband is there, but it sounds like, he I don't doesn't seem like he's upset about how things are.
It's like not even a little bit. Couldn't care less. And
Yeah,
I feel like sometimes I'm like, I don't know, man. If you were a little bit angrier, maybe I would
right,
play.
get
And
me
he's
into
like, I
gear.
don't care. Like that's unhelpful. Yell at me a little bit. Let's. No.
Right.
He's
Yeah.
so.
No, that's interesting.
It's really amazing, and I'm really lucky that he's just as on board with what I'm doing as he is. And now when people are like, "Why isn't your husband helping? Why isn't you helping your husband cleaning?" All this. I'm
Mhm.
like, to be honest, he's like, I don't know. Hey,
Hi,
um, I'm
glad you
like,
found us.
I'm so happy you're here. Um, he's like, "Oh, I didn't know if you wanted me to save it for a video. Like, I didn't know if you were going to clean. I
Oh,
don't want to
that's
do the
funny.
dishes if you were going to clean the kitchen because I've come in. I'm like, F, babe. Like, I was gonna film myself cleaning that, and so he's just like, all right. So he sticks to outside yard work, and just if I asked, he would, but I don't ask because I feel really guilty about it. So I'm trying to avoid asking.
Ah, ha, ha. Okay, here comes the mental health piece. What do what do you think that's about? Like, in all ser you know what I mean? Like, where do you think the guilt comes from with that?
I am failing at being a stay-at-home parent. Like I'm killing it as a mom. Maybe I don't know. Maybe they'll grow up and be serial killers. I don't know. I feel like
Probably
I'm.
not.
Who knows?
Chances are good they won't, but hopefully.
Like I'm caring and loving, and my kids feel very safe and cared for and loved. So that part is great, but I am not caring for the home. I don't feel like I'm a great steward of our finances because I love buying
Same.
stuff. It's amazing. I'm definitely not great with buying groceries and then actually using those groceries. I'm great at
Mhm.
buying groceries. I
Oh,
am
yeah.
terrible about any other aspect of it. And it's so hard when my husband works and provides and all of that and comes home and I'm like, I did not hold up my end of that bargain, friend. Sorry. Can we order
Mm,
pizza? Like it just, I'm just not holding up my side. And I feel very guilty about that. Even though he
mm.
does not make me feel guilty,
Right,
I
it's your
wish
self-imposed.
I want to be better and I just keep not getting better. Oh, well, I am a little bit, but
I was gonna say, I think anybody who does what you and I are doing, right, with this intentional filming of our process, I hope you kinda have to get better at least a little bit,
yeah. Yeah,
because you're conscious of it, like, it's in the forefront of your mind all the time.
I really feel that way too. I feel like it is improving and I like taking people's input that they have and I'm like, "Okay, is that a technique I can use?" And I am kind
Mhm.
of sorting out what is best for me or at least for sure I'm sorting out what is absolutely not good for me. I'm
I feel
getting
like that's the first part of the process, right? Like, "Nope, this absolutely is not it."
it for sure and people like some of their advice I'm like I understand it's well meaning, but the whole just put things away as you go, I know that. I
Right. It's not a
absolutely know
knowledge
that.
issue.
It is not a knowledge issue. It is absolutely it's an execution issue.
Right,
And
yeah.
so I understand that part, but I just and I can't consistently say all the time, be like, I get it, guys. I get it. I should, but I won't. Like I can't, I could, but I'm not kind of thing. It's
You know what though? I think there's something endearing and like authentic about just saying like that doesn't work for me. I'm not gonna do it. You know
yeah.
what I mean? Like
Right.
it's just is what it is, right? Like in fact I wrote down a video. I'm gonna read you the video idea that I wrote down just
Oh, I
this
love that.
morning. Uh Video shots of every time I pick something up and put it in the wrong place, don't throw it away and don't put it back.
Oh, I love that. You should
Like
do that.
because somebody I had a comment actually, I think yesterday or the day before, somebody mentioned like, "Oh, well, my I don't need an evening routine because I clean as I go. I put things away as I go." And I was like, "That is so lovely for you."
Yes, that sounds amazing for
Like
you.
I and then as I've been thinking about that comment, as I go about my day and watch myself, right? Like leave things scattered about, I literally would look at myself and I'd be holding something in my hand like, "Don't put this on the table. Put it in the
Right?
recycling. Put it in the recycling."
Right?
It's like I have to coach myself.
It's, like, incredibly hard or, like, when I knock something on the floor and I'm like, "You should pick that up." And
Yeah.
I do now about half 50% of the time, I pick it up.
Yeah. Yeah.
50% of the time, I'm like, "That's lost forever. There's no way
Yeah.
of getting that back."
That's where it lives now.
It's so crazy. I get a lot of comments where people are like, "You're wandering so much when you clean, like, look at you just walking back and forth like a crazy person." I'm like, I'm putting things away though. Do you not see me pick the thing up? Like maybe
Right,
I'm
to
not
put it
gathering
away.
everything that needs to go to my bedroom, but I am putting things where they go.
Right.
Sometimes I am piling them in the general vicinity, but not away. Like sometimes they're just going on top of my dresser in my bedroom and not where they're supposed to be, but they're getting closer to the zone.
Right. They're more it's the approximation is
It's
there.
exactly that where I'm like, well, it's close enough. But I am putting things away and I think that's what people are like, why are you wandering? And I'm like, you guys said I was supposed to put things away. I'm putting things away.
Putting them away.
I thought you wanted me to do this.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I think that's something I want to try and tackle, but I may also have to just admit that that's just who I am as a human being.
A lot of it. It's so much of it.
Yeah. And because you also had mentioned your room as a kid, and I think I was thinking about my room as a child, and it was well, thank you, whoever's giving us lots of hearts. Thank
Oh,
you.
thanks, guys.
But yeah, whenever I was growing up, my room literally was so this is when I was maybe like a tween into my teen years. I
Right.
had just clothes all over the floor, blankets all over the floor. I had an actual like I had to spread apart a path from the door to my bed,
Yeah.
and um, And I had, if I ate in my room, like, I would leave the cups and the dishes and stuff, and
Mhm.
I just didn't care. Like, I did care if I invited a friend over, which didn't happen because I was
Right.
embarrassed.
Right, yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's just so interesting, and then and my parents were just like, "Whatevs." They didn't "Oh, okay. Hello, Buster?
What are we planning?
What are we
Like,
planning?"
I am plotting. I do have plotting going on, but I didn't know it was released to the universe yet.
Well, we're gonna have to keep it under wraps.
Can't
Um,
overthrow the entire world, but that's okay. Um, so one thing that I think about a lot in regards, because you were asking me about how I grew up and stuff like that, and
yeah.
I didn't really consider this as impactful as now all of a sudden it feels like maybe it could have been. So our the custody arrangement that I grew up with was wretched. It was
Mm,
every other day. So if I forgot something that I wanted at my father's house on Monday, so Monday
mhm.
night, or okay, so Monday night I was there. Tuesday morning I would go to school, go home to my mom Tuesday, spend Tuesday night, go to school Wednesday, and then Wednesday night I'd go home to my dad's house, and that's when I would get it. So if it was a school thing, I wouldn't have it back at school until Thursday.
Oh
It
my
was
gosh.
really, really difficult. And
Yeah, that sounds horrible. What judge thought that was great?
my God, like, and now when speaking to my parents, they're like, it wasn't that bad. I was like,
For you?
okay, yeah, sure. And then I don't remember what age. I think it's when one of us started driving. My brother started driving before me. We like insisted on an every other week situation. And when I started driving, I would hoard most of my belongings that I wanted in my
Mhm,
car.
mhm.
That's
Yep,
where all of my stuff was because at least I would have it.
right.
And it was such a rural area that it's a distance between, it was like an hour drive between
Right.
my families.
You
So
couldn't just, like, pop in real quick.
there
Yeah.
was no popping in. I mean, I loved to drive when I was 16, so of course
Sure.
I could do it. But
Right,
so maybe that has another reason why I really love my stuff and I want my
right.
stuff and I find value in my stuff because my stuff wasn't always accessible to me. And so maybe
Mhm.
that's part of why I am so reluctant to declutter because I'm like, no, 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 that's
This
mine.
is my thing.
That is
Yeah.
my thing. And I want my
I
thing with
chose
me.
it.
This is, I have it. I can access it whenever I want to, not
Yeah.
every other evening.
That is actually something I wanted to talk to you about because I had a question written down, like, because 'cause you've said in the past, your goal in your cleaning and tidying is not to become a minimalist at
It
all.
is
Like,
not.
that's not interesting to you.
That is not something I want whatsoever.
Yeah, so, I mean, that makes a lot of sense, right? Like, if you couldn't always get what you wanted quickly that was yours, rightfully
Yes.
yours, right?
And
And it
periodic
yeah.
step siblings where their stuff was theirs. And like some of our stuff was shared. Like it just, I
Mhm.
don't know, like the having my own stuff was very important to me,
Yeah.
and very hard to have.
Mhm.
So I don't know. And I understand later in life I'm gonna have to do Swedish death cleaning. I get that
Yes.
my stuff is important to me and me alone, and my kids are gonna
Right.
be like, awesome, mom, can't wait. So like I hope for a long life and like a long decline so I can have a couple years of just purging all of my stuff, but I want my stuff until then.
Right.
So,
Right. Oh, hi, Ellie. It says it is interesting how our clutter and hoarder tendencies have deep roots. Yes,
right?
I
I
agree.
and I wonder what you feel about this. I've had a couple comments, and I of course do not have any mental health training, but I will accept anything that I see online as absolute fact. And it was,
Obviously.
remember when A&E had hoarders on a lot,
Yes.
the
Oh,
show
yes.
Hoarders? I noticed that there was a very solid theme. Of course, you would have to have mental health to begin with, like maybe an
Right.
OCD already in the background. But a lot of the theme was I went to school, my mom packed up all my stuff in a trash can and threw it away. And I came
Mhm.
home and now I'm like,
Right.
you
Or
know,
fire, that's another big one.
and that started it. So a lot of my comments, if people who are just a little bit angry at me would say, "Oh,
Mhm.
absolutely not. If my kids behave like that, I would throw their stuff away when they're at school." And I'm like, "But that it's so
Yeah.
cruel." And I would, you know, there's a chance that I would trigger something very deep within them. But what do you think about that? Do you think that that's like,
Yeah. So I think just for anybody watching who doesn't know, so I am a licensed counselor, but I'm not your licensed counselor. I'm not anybody here's licensed counselor or whatever. It's just this is for entertainment. This is not mental health advice. But I mean, I yes, I agree with you. I don't think it's healthy to do that.
yeah.
But I do think it's important to kind of come alongside your kids or maybe include them in the process. Like I saw when you worked on your twins room, like, you did include them and made sure that they were
Mhm.
part of every decision that was made about what goes
Yeah.
and what stays. Um, so I think it's important to include them, but I also think it's sometimes necessary to get rid of things, right? Especially with children, because
Yes.
they grow. They don't need the same things
Right. That's
from,
true.
year to year. They have to, there's a natural sort of turning over of belongings when you're a kid. But I do, I have heard of a lot of kids, maybe they're like 5 or 6 years old and they want to wear something that doesn't fit anymore. And,
Right. Yes.
you know, you kind of have to, well, you have to pick your battles. But
Yeah.
I think with clothes and things like that, it's important to kind of go through it. And depending on their age, maybe have them say goodbye to it or maybe include
Yes.
them in the process and say, hey, we are all done with these. We have new things now. Let's send these to somewhere where someone else can use it or somebody else needs it,
Right.
you
Yes.
know?
I love
So, but I know I do understand the frustration and the urge I think that a lot of people have. Oh, hi, Meg.
Hi, Meg.
But yeah, I understand the urge that people have to just like in a very reactive way, just be like, we're throwing it all out. It's all
Right?
going in a garbage can,
And I
you
can't
know.
punish them because I can't hold them to like this crazy high standard where I punish them for not achieving a standard that I can't even put myself to. Like, I'm
Right,
not bagging up all my stuff and throwing it away because I fail to maintain. So I certainly can't do that to them. That's
right,
not correct to me.
right, right. Yeah. Well, and I would say with certain parenting things, we do have to try and hold them to standards, even if we're not perfect, because we're trying to make the next generation better, right?
That's
But
true. And I can do that food wise where I'm like, how about you have a vegetable? And they're like, have you had a vegetable? I'm like, this isn't about me. You eat the
right,
vegetable. I'm gonna eat
don't
something else.
don't turn this around.
I'm going to eat 19 Oreos. You can have two because moderation is key.
That's right. I'm an adult and I can eat cereal for dinner. It's fine.
Exactly that.
I think I survived for several years like that, but that's another story.
And so, how about popcorn for dinner? I had that. That was like 3 years of my life where I'm like, popcorn for dinner. It was so good.
Right?
You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah. Well, you know what? That's another thing that surprised me about, not, I guess surprise isn't a fair word, but upset me about becoming a homemaker was that you have to think about food all the time. Like you
all
have to think constantly about what am I going to eat, which
yep,
whatever. So that goes on the back burner because what is my kid going to eat? What is my
yep,
other kid going to eat? What is my husband going to eat? What is our guest on a Tuesday going to eat, right? Like
right. What is the
you
one thing
know,
all of us will eat? So I'm not here like
yeah.
fighting or making 7 meals.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
exhausting.
I don't know. That's another thing. I kind of put that I tried to do meal planning very briefly. It was a failure. It was traumatic. I'm tired.
The worst about meal planning is like, okay, it sounds good, but when you get to Wednesday, you're like, I don't want an enchilada tonight. That's not at all what
Right,
I feel like having. I want pork chops or something like. I hate it because I'm never in the mood for the food on the day that it's there, but I
right,
bought it, so I have to use it. I
right.
hate that.
Yeah, yeah. We throw away an absurd amount of food, and I feel horrible about it.
So do
But
I.
I don't. If anyone has like, I don't know. You know what? But here's the thing again. This isn't a knowledge issue, right? This isn't like we talked about. This isn't like we're not smart because we're both very smart. If I can say so myself, I think we're both smart people.
I think so too.
But it's more of like a yeah. Like I think we let our how we feel kind of get like take over.
Yes, it's so tricky, and I don't know, it's hard. Um, One thing I did, I'm very grateful for, and I'm gonna do again, is that I, a while ago, made a bunch of freezer meals
Yes.
and stuck them in the freezer, and then this past week, that's how we're making meals, and I've love past
Awesome.
Beth for that, and I'm going to when I have a day full of energy, that is what I wanna do with my day because
Yeah.
it helps, like, because everybody's eating something that's homemade and better for us, it's cheaper, and it takes away that guilt of failing that day. Like, I
Right.
got dinner on the table. It's the last thing you have to do as a stay at home, like as a trad wife or whatever. And getting the dinner on the table, that's like I don't know, whatever you do in corporate America. That's my corporate America goal of
Right.
life.
That's your job. That's your yeah.
That's what I'm looking for. So feeling
Yeah.
pretty good about that. I need to
Good.
restock, but
That is something I would like to try. I did have one meal like that this week that I had made a lot because also I have no idea portions I don't understand. I don't know how much to buy. I don't know what a
right.
recipe is. I don't get it. So I make way too much of stuff often. And so I did freeze like a turkey, like a ground turkey kind of Tex-Mex thing.
Yes.
And that was great because there's a lot of nights where I just do not feel like
Right?
chopping or thinking or
And that's like one
whatever
of the
it
best
is.
ways to do freezer meals is to double your batch or just freeze over. And then you're only cooking once and um it's amazing.
Yeah. Oh, Ellie says, any tips for a picky eating toddler? Well, I don't know if Beth has any. I currently have a picky eating toddler.
You were in it. You are knee deep in it. Take it away.
I think, well, if you found any success, I definitely want to hear. But I will just say for right now, my tip for my picky eating toddler and just how I handle it is she is on the top of her growth curve. She is a perfect weight for her height. She is healthy. The doctor has said so. Um, and so, as long as that is true for her, I don't put any pressure on her at all. I
Oh,
really
I love
don't. I offer her the things that I know she'll eat. When we're eating something that I think she might like, I will offer it to her. But if she doesn't like it or she doesn't want to try it, I'm not the type like I just don't it's just not a battle that I want to fight with her, right? Like take
right.
one bite or if you don't take a bite of this, you can't have a bite of that. And I know a lot of people grew up with that and that that's a common thing and it's whatever you want to do, but for me, I just don't want to make food like a thing for her.
Yes.
So
Uh,
that's what I would say.
I
Just give
love
them
that.
what they eat. Whatever they will eat, give it to them.
100% that. So of course, not of course, nobody knows this. Well, Ellie probably doesn't know this. So my oldest girls, the twins, they are
Oh, happy Ellie.
autistic. And so we did food therapy. There's like legit food therapy for picky eaters, if you will. And theirs is a step beyond picky eater. But one
Right.
thing we did was um everything's like a buffet style. Like you put all the food
Mhm.
on the table and everybody serves themselves.
Nice.
And you take as much as you want, but then food is also something you play with. So one of the first steps is the just tolerating it being on the table with you, then having it on your plate, but like letting our kids play with it. They can put food in their mouth and spit it back out. That's fine.
Mhm.
And then we would also do definitely preferred foods on the table with the non-preferred foods and like out of
Okay.
nowhere. So we would have sliced apples and grapes and like turkey meat and then also roasted broccoli and I remember the day that finally we did it for a very long time and one day one of the twins reached over, grabbed that broccoli, stuffed it in her mouth and we were all like, don't look directly at it. Don't
Right.
look directly at
Yep.
oh,
Don't acknowledge it.
oh, don't look. And we're like, is it okay? She's got it. It's happening. And it was wild. And
Yeah.
then years later, like Sammy ate a mouthful of rice and we're like, a starch. And just having access to it, but like no pressure to it, allowing the playing, the touching, the spitting out.
Mhm.
And then also I love the tip of having like muffin tin and putting
Mhm.
different varieties of snacks in the muffin tin and just leaving it there for
Yeah.
them to graze. I love that
Yeah.
one. And things are a little bit better. We still have like casseroles are a no in our family, but what if someday they walk up and stuff a casserole in their mouth and we will be so excited.
Yeah. No, I love that. I love that. Right. Yeah, I think you bring up a really good point of like the like no reaction or like minimal reaction, right? For good or bad.
Yes.
Whatever, if they spit it out, cool, that wasn't what you wanted. If you ate something new, cool, that's something you wanted now. But I get like you want to
Oh
celebrate.
my god, so badly. Like, yes, and I didn't want to like do a startle response where they're like, absolutely never again. That was terrifying. So like, you're just like super cash, bro. Really cash about this. I don't.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah, and I think another thing that I am reminded of, like we said a little earlier, I ate cereal for dinner for like, I don't know, 4 years, and I'm fine. I survived. And also, as I grew up, I naturally was curious about different foods, tried different foods, didn't
yeah,
try foods I don't wanna try. I think if we can kind of think of our kids as like, actual human beings who have who have opinion. I'm
they're
not saying you
amazing
don't, anybody.
ideas.
Yeah, but I think as parents, we get so worried that our kid isn't going to grow or they're not going to be healthy or they're not going to be okay. And
Yeah,
so I do understand all the like pressure around food, especially if the kid is underweight or something. I
yeah.
totally get it. But, you know,
Especially if you're a first time mom, it is
yeah,
absolutely terrifying navigating
yeah,
all of it, and it's a lot all at once.
yeah,
The
yeah.
pressure also, there's a lot of outside pressure when your kids are that age. I kind of forgot about that, where everybody wants to know
Oh,
exactly what's happening at every
right.
moment. I
Yeah.
for
Well, and yes. And I think, in this day and age, also, when I was pregnant, so I got pregnant when I was 38. So I was a little bit more mature, older, whatever. But I still was new. I had never had a baby
Yeah,
before, right? I'd never been pregnant before. So I was on the internet 24/7. Like,
yes,
what's normal? What am I supposed to be doing? What is the baby supposed to be doing?
yes,
What's the best that she could do? And then if you're in a Facebook due date group or a mommy group, there's all this comparison and my
yep.
kid's doing this. Oh gosh, well my kid hasn't rolled over yet. Oh no.
Oh, right.
And I think if I'm not going to have another baby, probably like 95%. But if we did have another baby, I think I would be so much more relaxed, right? Like just
Yeah,
the
we
kid's going to do what they're going to do.
like that. The youngest child syndrome is real, where you're like, "I don't care, dude." Like,
Right?
go
Do
ahead.
whatever you want.
I remember Calvin, my youngest, did something silly. Like, I think he dropped his pacifier and stuck it back in his mouth, and somebody's like, "Oh my god!" I was like, "My other kid just ate a fistful of dirt, so
Yeah,
I
we're
we do
good.
not care over here. It's he'll
We're
be fine."
fine. This is fine.
Right?
I know.
He'll
Yeah.
figure it
Oh,
out.
the germs. The germs. Yeah. Yeah. Even that's gone way down for sure. Although when we're traveling, we have a trip coming up. We're going to Mexico soon to visit my husband's
Nice.
family. And the germs are always freaking me out because every time we travel, we do get sick, right? Like we either get a cold or we get diarrhea or something. And so
It's
that
way less
does,
not fun.
yeah,
Way
not
less
so fun.
fun.
But hopefully, hopefully we'll be okay this time.
I hope so because oh, that sucks. But yeah, but luckily she won't really be at the age of like licking everything.
Right. Yeah. Last year, that was the problem. And her comfort thing is sticking her fingers in my mouth, not her own, my mouth. When she's
Yeah,
tired, if I'm holding her, her little hand comes up and it goes in my mouth, and she
and you're
can't,
like,
like, if I, yeah,
well, there's no way I'm coming out of this healthy.
no,
Just
no,
lean into it.
I'm, I'm doomed. But anyway, that we're working first. Now we're working on getting her in her own bed. That's going well. So next is maybe the hand. We'll just
I love that.
find another comfort. Um, Yes. Anyway, I have, unless you wanted to say anything else about toddlers, I have other questions for you. Let's see. where do I want to go? I was gonna one of them is your life now anything like what you expected it to be? Like, when you were I think when we're, like, tweens, teens, we all kinda dream about what it'd be like to be a wife and a mom. Like, what how does it compare for you, do you think?
It's um it's different. Honestly, I didn't see myself as a stay-at-home mom at all. I thought I was going to be very hardcore career and
Mm,
that my kids would be in public school and that I wouldn't I'm not saying that moms at work are not involved, but I wouldn't be as intently involved with my kids'
right.
life. I didn't see that as happening as much. It's a lot
Mhm,
different. I had a lot of expectations adjusted very early on as a mother, and I I've stopped picturing what it's supposed to look like
mhm.
because it's so unsure for the future. I don't
Right.
know, I like the milestones that I had hoped for, I am not hoping for.
Right, you kind of let go of the expectation.
I let go of it. I don't know that I'm going to be mother of the bride. I don't know if we're not going to dress up for prom, all
Right.
of these little things. Um I completely let go of
Mm,
anything like that, and I am just very much in the moment.
mhm.
I don't know, it's completely different than what I thought it would be, and I'm wildly happy with it.
Sure.
I love it so much more than I thought I would. I thought I was going to have to be a powerhouse. I thought I was gonna have to be, like a neurosurgeon, or I was gonna work in the CIA.
Right.
That I actually thought was gonna happen. Um, so yeah, I honestly thought I was probably going to work in the CIA. I was definitely going to be intelligence and I was going to be career going down that road. And it's very bonkers to pivot. And it's incredibly hard to pivot from being such an aggressive, like alpha
Mhm.
woman is not a real thing, but I was very aggressive, very independent,
Yeah,
very like, you have to, if you're in the army, that's who you are. You are
right,
just a bulldog. And
right.
to back off of it and to try to be more nurturing and soft and stuff like that, finding that
Mhm,
back again within myself was wild. Like, I
mhm.
did not think that this is where I would have landed. I'm very
Yeah,
happy to be here, but I did not expect it whatsoever.
yeah. Oh, that's interesting. Right, yeah, that shift from yeah, even not military, but just any career, right?
Yes,
To, "Oh, now I'm home and being caring and loving and not this professional." Yeah.
exactly. And to not bully my husband. Like, and so it's so weird because it really is true that you have to have, like, this is terrible. I just feel like this is so controversial and so not okay to say out loud, but it is
Here we are.
here we are today. It is really true in this family dynamic that you kind of have to have one person who calls the big shots.
Mm,
And it's not me. And that's crazy because it should be me because I'm clearly brilliant and amazing and strong and all
yes.
powerful. And and like it's not me, it's my husband. And a lot of people picture that different than what it actually looks like. It's not me being like, husband, I would really like to purchase this. Can I please purchase it? Like, that's none of it. But when it comes down to where do we live, what state we
Mhm.
live in, that's
Right,
his call, not mine. And I am there to
right,
support him for that. And
right.
when it's like, I want to make a super huge purchase, like, I have to be like, huh? Could we? Do you think? And he makes the bigger call on that. And allowing his decision to be the final decision is one of the most painful parts of this life. And just being like,
Mm.
okay, but I am going to murder you in your sleep. Like, it's so weird and so hard.
Allegedly, allegedly.
Allegedly, I poisoned his coffee. but it's so funny because people talk about like being submissive, and it's not like that.
Right,
But
right,
we
right,
can't both decide what state we live in. We just can't.
right,
It's got
right.
to, like, I see a lot of in this. line of work where you're not stationary. You don't get to live in one town forever.
Right.
You have to move. I see a lot of men who have to move to further their career. It's
Right.
predominantly men. Yes, there are women out there. Um, but they have to move for their career. And then the wife's like, absolutely not. I'd rather divorce. And it's just like, but
Wow. Yeah.
you kind of knew. You kind of knew when you came
Right.
into this that this is kind of how the life goes. And it's not an easy thing to do. And I don't know why I'm on this crazy tangent, but
I love it.
it's I did not think that I was going to be like, it's my husband's choice. It's an amazing excuse, by the way. If you want to get out of anything, you'd be like, oh no, I have to ask my husband. I don't know. I can't do that. Like that
That's
part's
funny.
brilliant. But
That's true. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think, I'm not in the same position. Like we are pretty my husband's job is very we actually have to stay in the same state because that's where
yeah,
he has his license to do his job. Uh,
right.
and the same with me. Like it's a real pain in the neck to get licensed in other states. So here we are in Illinois, whether we like it or not. But I have noticed there are things that I do have to submit on, or I do have to kind of back down on a little bit more.
Yeah.
And that is not my nature. I
Oh,
would bulldoze every decision if possible. And with some things I still do, like with parenting stuff, I really do take the lead on that because I mean, I'm the one who's in it 24/7.
100%.
But with other things like that and the finances and stuff, it's like, okay, I gotta just I have to trust. I think the important thing is with submission. I grew up evangelical Christian. I'm not now, but like, so that's a whole topic, that's a whole trigger, whatever.
Yeah.
But I think with submissiveness and with submission in marriage, I think it only works if both partners have each other's best interest at heart.
I think so
If
too.
they, yeah,
I think
if it's
so
coming from a
too.
place of love and care and protection and not a place of authority and I'm the one in charge.
I agree. I really do. I think, and I honestly think we fell into this structure later in life because we've been together 21 years. And we were absolutely,
Mhm.
I was not wandering around out there at 18 being like, oh, do you think we can do this? I was like, I'm going to go do this. See you when I get back. Love you. Bye.
Right.
It was definitely not that, but it's kind of fallen into that, especially now that I do make all of the household decisions. Like my kids being homeschooled was my call.
Right.
And I did all the research. All of the choices that I make for the kids, it's like I inform him after the fact,
Right.
right? Where I'm like, oh,
Like,
by
what
the
do
way,
you think
do
about
this
that?
now. And like he'll come
Yeah.
up with ideas like, hey, babe, I thought about this. I'm like, you fool. I've
Right.
researched it for 6 months. Like, how
Yeah,
dare you?
yes, how dare you? Yeah, especially when our daughter was a baby, I was like, "You have no idea. I have spent all day on the internet reading about this. Like, you don't get a
It's
say."
3000% what I've done all day.
Yeah, yeah. I know sometimes he would be like, "What? It said so on the internet?" I'm like, "Yes,
Yup,
and
it
that is
did.
correct."
It said in like 7 different spots of the internet, so I
Yeah,
feel like that's valid.
yeah.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. It's one of those weird things where you're just like, it's not my personality. I feel like I don't know, but I also didn't grow up in any sort of evangelical anything. We were
Mhm.
Catholic. We were very Christmas, Easter Catholics,
Right.
which that's when you show up.
Those
And
are the
that's
important ones.
exact the Christmas, Easter Catholics where you're like, yeah, I'm totally here. I know what we're doing. What?
Yes.
Um, and so none of that was in any wheelhouse of mine. And it just wasn't there. And that like it just kind of happened. And
Mhm.
I wouldn't have noticed it had I not um been looking into my YouTube journey. And my husband joked around with me about the word trad wife. And I was so offended that he would have the audacity to like try to put that on me a little bit.
Mm.
And I was just like so angry at him. And then the more points I was pointing out to why it didn't apply to me, I was like, oh God, okay, yeah,
Actually.
actually, shoot. I feel like
Maybe.
I fear that I've become one of them. So I don't know. So I was like, okay, let's see where this goes in a very healthy way. I feel like it could go very unhealthy, but
Yeah.
You know, I suppose I don't know where I'm going with that. That's just a random train of thought that came out. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I love it. I love it. I'm just looking at some of my other questions. Let's see. Okay, we talked about you don't want to be a minimalist. I love
Don't.
that for you. Oh, also, this is random and not something I wrote down, but so I saw also in your video, sorry, I was stalking you today. I watched your video.
Love it.
You were saying how you wanted more decorations on your island, your kitchen island. And I've noticed you have like some decorations on your mantle and all that kind of stuff. I am not a decorator. I don't even, we had family pictures taken over a year ago. I have still not put them in frames.
Yep.
Um, but do you like decorating? Like, is that one of your things? Is that a, no.
Uh, so had you watched one of my other videos? No, actually, that one's not up anymore. So if you had gone back in time and watched this one video,
Yes.
I commented that my homes don't ever feel homey.
Mm,
For so I joined the army when I was 18. Mark and I have been in like 8 different homes in our relationship, and it's very, moving. And so you don't want to put stuff on the wall because you don't
mhm.
want to damage the walls because you have to leave. And so
Right.
one of my goals is to fill my home with more decor. I grew up in a home that had decorations and knickknacks and on both sides of the home.
Mhm,
And I love how it made the home feel more homey, and it just might be my attachment to items where
mhm,
I have I feel comfort in remembering the items that were in my living room when I was little, and, I just
mhm.
I remember how it was set up, and, I go back home to my mom's house now, and she's renovated it, and I'm like, "Oh, I hate this. It is not correct." And she's like, "Don't you love
Right,
my kitchen?" I was like, "I hate it. I
right, this
hate
is
it.
not what I remember.
This is not it at all, and I don't care if it's more functional." Um, but I want to it just makes it feel better,
Mhm.
and, luckily, my husband's never gonna watch this live stream. He's going to leave town soon, and I'm so excited.
Uh-oh.
He's gonna leave town for a week. I am going to redecorate, paint, and fill this bedroom filled with
Ooh.
knickknacks and crap, and it is gonna be a
Uh-oh.
maximalist room. I've look it up. There's an opposite where you're like maximalist decor, and
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, yes,
It's
please.
wild.
I want 3 rugs on top of each other on the floor in this room. That's what I want to see.
And 47 potted plants.
Yes, yes. If I can keep them alive, I want that.
That's incredible.
I want to move away from the millennial gray, which I deeply love, which we both have.
I love, yeah.
It's so
Gray is my
good.
favorite.
It's so good. But I'm like, okay, I can't keep doing the gray with white. I want richness and stuff, and I love buying stuff when we travel, and then I could be like, "Look, we got this here, and look, this is from that," and it just I don't know, it's the exact opposite about being a minimalist. I wanna fill my home with things that remind me of other things, and I wanna see them all of the time, and so I can think
Mm,
about all of the cool things that have happened in my life all of the time.
that's so interesting. As you were saying that, I was just wondering if maybe it has, I mean, I think these different goals and views definitely have something to do with personality, right? But I also wonder if it's like a stage of life thing as well, like where you're at in your
Could be.
motherhood journey.
Yeah, it could be.
Because for me, like, at this point, I'm in survival mode with the toddler and a tween and like
Yes.
starting a business and just the whole situation. I just am very much like, I need to get crap out of here as much as I can so that what I need to do is simple, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
Like, I want to streamline, even though
I
I'm
can
not a streamlined person.
I can fully see that, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would too. Also, they get into everything, like
Yes.
breakable stuff all of the time. Like you can't
Yeah.
have it. It's
We
just
can't have nice things. Yeah.
it's danger. Like that's danger all of the time, and they'll ruin
Yeah.
everything anyways. And we're finally out. We bought a couch that is
Mhm.
finally not the couch that will be disgusting. You know, like
Mhm.
we had the
Oh,
peanut
yeah.
butter couch for so long, and I knew people with peanut butter allergies, where I'm like, hey, you're not welcome in my home.
Right,
you
you can't sit here.
you can't sit here. Don't touch that wall. That's also the napkin wall. Like, and so finally we're at a stage where I'm like, the couch that I don't think is going to have juice spilled on it or milk spilled on it. Like the kids never sit on the couch and eat. It's glorious
Right.
because they want to hide in
Yeah.
the room and eat. And I love that for me.
Right.
And
If
it
you don't if
very
you can't see
well,
it, it's not a problem.
it's so good, right? Like, oh yeah, take care of that trash on your own. Um, and I never considered it. Maybe I'm just moving into a part of life where I can have things.
Mhm.
And that's really exciting to me. And I don't know. I maybe also I just kind of am annoyed with everybody being like, maybe throw all your stuff away and be a minimalist. I'm like, I'm gonna do the opposite. I'm gonna get
Right,
so much
rebel.
more stuff. It's, I'm gonna fill it to where we can't even walk in here. How about that? Like, I just a
Yeah.
little bit of defiance, I guess.
I mean, it is, yeah, right, it's interesting with the different trends, right? Like,
Mhm.
now everybody wants to be a minimalist and this now instead of saying minimalist, now we're talking about slow living, right? Like, I think it's all the same. It's all
Yeah,
the same. It's all the same stuff in just different packages.
right?
But, you know, then we're gonna swing the other way, right? Now, like you said, there's pages for maximalists, to look
100%.
at and hmm?
And I think honestly, we're going to pivot into it pretty hard because we're going to go into we're already in hard economic times.
Right,
And so soon it's going to be I have this having the stuff is going to be the success. Whereas when you could be minimal and streamlined and have that very industrial look, that was your success. And now
right,
we're going to pivot to when it's harder to have things, you're like, look at all of my things. I think we're just going
right,
to shift as a society and
right.
to opulence because we do tend to go back and forth between
Yeah,
periods of opulence and periods of the streamlined, clean aesthetic. And I feel like I'm going to be ahead of the curve. I'm just,
yeah.
I'm going to be so fashion forward. Nobody's going to know what to do with me.
You're just showing off your wealth
And
all over the
I
place.
am terrible at decorating. It's a skill set where you're just like, it's hard to do. And I wish I was better at it, but I'm trying.
Yeah. I think that's one of my other fears, and one of the reasons why I don't decorate is I have a fear that I'm gonna do it wrong, or that it's not gonna come out how I envisioned, and then I'm
Yes.
gonna be mad about it, because
Oh,
that's the whole, like, my whole first, I don't know, 3 to 4 months on YouTube, I was angry because I had a vision of what I thought my YouTube channel should look
yeah.
like, and then I was watching other YouTube channels, and I was not matching
Yeah.
at all, and so then it's almost like, "Well, fine, then I'm just not gonna do it at all." Um,
Right.
so fortunately for me, I don't know if anyone else cares, but for fortunately in my case, I have pushed through with the YouTube, and I wanna keep trying and keep growing, right? But I think with decorating, it's one of those things that's like, little intimidating.
It's a little bit, but you know what? If it doesn't look good, you just, you know, move it away and then never talk about it ever again.
Yeah,
Nobody will speak of it.
it never happened.
Right? And a good time to practice is Christmas because you could just say that you're just trying to make magic for your child. You'd be like, yeah, it looks insane, but it's just magic. It's just the magic for my kid growing
Right.
up.
This
So
is Yeah, we're creating a fantasy land here.
exactly. Really weird side note. Do
Yeah.
you do Elf on the Shelf?
Do do you?
We
Okay,
do.
good, because I have very strong opinions about why I don't.
Oh, so do I.
Okay.
Um,
I
but we
knew
were
I liked you.
what? Like a surveillance state to traumatize my kid? No, thank you. But not only that, but my kids hated it. Like they were just like, "What?" We were gifted one. I never wanted to be a part of it. Also, exhausting. I'm not doing
Yeah.
that. Stop
No,
it.
no.
Uh,
I'm not making more work for me. Absolutely not.
but it became Calvin's favorite toy,
Oh,
and so he
no.
would take it places with him
And
and
the other
just
children?
traumatize the crap out of everybody else. And to where I'd be like, "Can we leave Jake in the car?" And he's like, "Nope, my best friend." And I was just like, "All right, let's do this.
Oh,
Let's be
we're
the worst."
ruining magic today, kids.
And when it would be like July and he'd have it, I was like, I'm so sorry. I don't know what to say.
This is just Jake.
He freaking loved Jake deeply.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
and then I think he lost him because we haven't seen him in years. So that's great for me. But yeah, so I'm all down for Christmas magic for my kids.
No.
Not that one though. Big feelings.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. No. That one, was an immediate no for me because as soon as I saw the pressure that people were putting on each other when they did it, like, well, and then they're selling kits. Like now you have a kit for how to set this thing up, and you've got to
Right?
have it make mini pancakes and mini syrup bottle. Like I barely, like I said, I am in survival mode. I
Right?
barely have time to do the stuff I have to do.
Yes.
My child will survive without the elf.
Right? They will. And I just like there's something so creepy about being like the constant surveillance and the fact that if you touch it, it loses its magic. So you have to
Yeah,
give it like a power spell so that like Santa can come back and revive them. Like
that's a
that's a
lot.
lot to put on a small child. Like,
Right.
yikes. So
Yeah. No, I'm not very magical when it comes to that stuff. Yeah, but I'm sure, my kids are going to therapy either way, so they'll have to work it out.
I love that. I you have to give them a really compelling backstory. Otherwise,
Yeah.
they're never gonna win the Olympics. Like
Right. Yeah.
they have
Or
to
American Idol or
or
yeah,
chopped. Like you have to have they have
you
to
have to
overcome
have
something. And that's
yeah.
what my job as a mother is. I'm giving them that thing to overcome.
You're giving yeah, the montage. You're giving them that montage with the sad music.
Everyone needs an origin story. Like I just want to start it for them.
That's incredible. I love it. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, my kids, it's gonna be, my mom told me Santa wasn't real. Sorry if anyone doesn't know that, but
Spoilers.
spoiler alert. Spoiler alert.
We just had that conversation with our last one um after this holiday passed. So
How did that go?
it went okay. The sisters held it in for so much longer than I thought they would. And what came of it was Calvin lost a tooth, and I wasn't going to go to the store because our tooth fairy never gave dollars. It gave
Mhm.
Hatchimals.
Okay. Sure.
I was like, bro, I'm not going to the store for Hatchimal. Like, it's me. I'm sorry. Here you go. But like, so so what it was, I was like, okay, buddy, we need to have a conversation. And I said, you know, Saint Nicholas was a real person and he did big things, and people felt like his story was so important that they put it into their hearts. And part of Santa is the magic that parents give. And it feels so amazing. And
Mhm.
you'll want to give this joy so much. And so that's why it's happening. Like, it's so exciting and joyful, and you'll love seeing your kids, the look on their faces Christmas morning. And so while we're Santa, everybody is a little bit, like, so we gave him that and he's like, okay,
Aw.
but like, at least the tooth fairy's real. And I was like, bro, that's what I'm trying to get at. I'm also the tooth fairy and I'm not going to the store for Hatchimals. So would you like $2? And then he's like, okay, I'll put it under my pillow. I was like, no, just
I'm telling you,
I'm
it's not
not
gonna
staying
happen.
up until you're asleep for this. Like, we don't have to
Well,
do
that's
it.
the other thing. Yeah, I don't wanna be sneaking around and putting things under pillows and risking waking them up, like
Like handfuls of glitter. We would do the glitter and stuff like that. And then once they found tooth fairy glitter in our closet, they're like, hey, you know what this looks like? We're like, that's crazy. I can't believe it
she
matches
must have left it.
anyway.
That's
And I do
hilarious.
remember my favorite memory is Mark and I had just finished setting up Christmas Eve, which is hands down my favorite holiday. I love when my kids are asleep.
Mhm.
I used to have a glass of wine, and my husband would have to put together the things that need to be put together. And
Right.
when you get older, you don't have to do that as much because my kids aren't getting doll houses and stuff. And so we had put it up and we like set everything up perfectly. And we were standing there being sweet. We were just like looking at it, and Calvin comes down the stairs behind us and we're like, did you hear footsteps too? We did. We ran out here. I saw Santa's feet go up. We were this close. Oh, come to bed, buddy. And we like took him into our room, but like, oh, remember the time you almost caught Santa? And we are like, yes, I do remember that. You were close too. And I just loved, I don't know, that was one of my favorite moments where I was like so close. He was 3, and
Oh,
it was really cute.
that is adorable.
It was.
Oh.
But
Oh,
also, I used to traumatize my kids with the song "I Saw Mommy Kissing Santa Claus." Like every year, I was like, "This is my year. I'm gonna stay up. I'm gonna find him, and I'm gonna kiss Santa." They're like, "No, what about Mrs. Claus?" I was like, "It's
Oh,
fine. The
what
song
about
says
Mrs.
I get to do it. I'm going."
What
They're like,
about
"Get off the
Daddy?
record." They're like, "What about Dad?" I was like, "He'll understand. The song says I get to kiss Santa. And this is my year." And now they're
That's
like,
hilarious.
"Dad Santa." I was like, "Yes, that's why I wanted to kiss him every year." They're like,
Ah, that's funny. Metalhead Mama said, "Work once woke me up when I was on shift to see where I put the elf on the shelf."
"Oh my god." And did you light work on fire right after that? That's terrible.
Yeah, no, thank you. See, that's the other thing. There's too much responsibility. I just no,
The
can't
pressure
do
of it
it.
all.
The pressure of it all. All right, I have maybe like one or two more questions, and then I can let
Yeah.
you go away if you need to. But what? Let's see. Oh, this is a good one. What do you? I think I need to answer this too because I need to think about it.
Okay.
Oh, I'm just reading Ellie. We grow not believing in Santa. We still had magical holidays. Good for you. Thank you,
See, right?
Ellie.
I really think you can.
I think so too. Yeah, we have other traditions, so I like that. Okay, so speaking of children, what would you hope, like, as you are going on your journey of keeping a house tidy and clean and just trying to figure all that out, what do you hope your kids learn about keeping up with a home or a household? Like, what do you hope they know by the time they
I deeply
are a
hope
little
that
older?
I traumatize them so much that they do the hard pivot and their house is always clean. And they're like, "I
Mm,
remember when I grew up in a messy house and now my house has to be clean." I'm like, that I hope that they do opposite of what I do, but that they look back on their childhood with kindness in their hearts, knowing
mm,
that I was trying and I am trying,
yeah,
but that it's hard. And I am putting actual effort into laying out homemaking rules and steps for my kids, for the twins in particular, where I'm like, this is how often this should be done because it was not really taught to me. I
mhm,
just feel like my generation, our generation wasn't it was never taught with a goal in mind that maybe you would be a homemaker. It was always assumed that you would not be in the home. And
right.
so those skills don't matter whatsoever. And so,
Which, by the way, sorry, is crazy because even if you work, like, we still have a household.
right? I guess
Like,
everybody just hires house cleaners and then they just
yeah,
learn from on the job training.
I guess.
It's, and I feel like I was taught certain skills, but not like real like the mundane. I was not taught the mundane, and I
Ditto.
also
Yeah.
probably didn't have a mind to learn the mundane. I was always a messy child. I was always chaotic and scattered. So trying to break down rules that are the rules, like even with personal hygiene care, where you're like, this is how often you wash your hair. This is how often you're supposed to shower. These are the rules.
Right.
Like, here's how often I want you to do your laundry. And my kids do their own laundry, they have their own
Nice.
chores. I am just not showing that on camera. I feel like that's
Right.
inappropriate.
Right. That's
Uh,
their stuff. Yeah.
they get caught in the background. Sometimes I show them doing fun stuff, but I don't want really, without it being their choice, I don't really want them subjected to this.
Right. To
Um,
be the star of the show. Yeah. Right. This
yeah,
isn't about that. Right. This isn't a mommy vlog.
exactly. And that can
This
go
is about
so
you.
so fast that I'm
Right.
terrified of family vlogs. And
Right.
despite the fact that my son deeply wants to be a family vlog, uh, so what I hope is that while I'm learning this, I will teach them the finite rules, and I hope that they can move forward and just be better than I am. I hope that they have better skill sets.
Mm,
Or at the very least, that we land so rich, we win the lottery that
yeah.
they hire their own help all of the time.
I mean, that's the ultimate goal, right? Like
That is
that's
the goal. I just want to win the lottery, dang it. What do you
yeah.
think? What is your answer to that?
Yeah. I mean, I think that is I agree with all of your goals, right? Like what you would hope for. I think where I struggle is the implementation day to day, right? So with my son who's 12, he obviously, well, not obviously, nobody knows him, but he is capable, right? Like
Mhm.
he is able bodied, he is mentally capable, cognitively capable of picking up his plates, putting them in straight into the dishwasher. He's capable of putting his dirty laundry in the dirty laundry basket, taking it downstairs, and completing a cycle of laundry, right? Where I struggle is the consistency of reminding him to do those things
Yes.
because I do believe, and he and I are very similar, which also makes it a struggle. Because,
Right?
like you said earlier, like, well, I don't want to ask him to do something that I'm still struggling with, right? But this is one of those things where I need to just start being more consistent with harassing him.
Yes.
Um, because I tell him this from time to time, like, even if he doesn't end up having a wife or a partner or whatever, for himself, like my hope is that he's able to maintain a home that he's proud
Yes.
of and that he's
Right?
happy in and that is clean and that he wants to, hang out with people in. And so, because my 20s, that was not the case. My apartments were always a disaster. They were not clean, like not
Yeah.
even not tidy, like they were not clean.
Yeah.
And I just didn't care. I was like, well, I guess I'll just go out, or I guess I'll just, whatever, go to somebody else's house.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't want that experience for him or for my daughter, when she gets older. So I think that's where my barrier is like it's a lot of work for me to get him to do what he needs to do. And it's easier in the moment for me to just do it. Right.
100%. Yeah. I totally get that.
Yeah. So I think that's where I don't like somebody. Maybe I think it might have even been Meg who was in the chat, but somebody said, like, oh my gosh, the thought just went away.
That's okay. It's just
Some
men.
It's okay. It was a great point. It was wonderful. It had something to do with like having him or having the kids do their part or something. But anyway, I lost it. It went away. So,
That happens. Happens to the best of us. I do that almost all the time.
oh well. Anyway, something will, you know what? It'll come back like when I'm laying in bed tonight.
God, I hate that. And then you're like, frick, I wanted to say
Dang it
this.
all. Oh well. It's all right.
I still feel that way about my stupid. I was struggling to describe how I felt about my home.
Mhm.
Um, and specifically the getting wrapped up in like the minutia of things where like I want this thing, this tiny little aspect of my life to be absolutely perfect,
Mhm.
where everything else is collapsing around you. You're like, but this, and I still don't have anything. I don't
Like a
have the
good
right thought
analogy.
in my head to put up it where you're just like, I don't. I need it though. I need it. I want to describe what I'm trying to say so deeply, and it's just not there. And right now, I'm picturing like shining a boat or like polishing a boat oar while the boat is flooding, and where that's not it. But
No. Like,
that's
right. Who's
my brain right.
polishing a boater?
Like who polishes their oars anyways?
Or
While
like the
the boat is
musicians on the Titanic, maybe? I don't know.
it's something in there where like I really wanted to scrub down my countertop, but everything else is so disgusting. Why would a mostly clean countertop need to be perfectly clean when there was
Mm,
clearly so many other things to address? I don't know. I'm going to think
yeah.
of it. I'm going to think of what it is, and I'm going to call you in the middle of the night and be like, I thought of it. I know
I
what
got
it
it.
is.
I got it. All right. Well, I don't think I have any more questions, but I enjoyed talking with you. Oh no, Crystal.
Crystal.
Wow. Wow,
How dare,
Crystal.
babe? But I'm happy to see you.
Yes, welcome. I think we were just about to wrap up, but please watch the replay. We would love it if you would watch the replay.
Very much so.
Or just rewind it right now. I think you can do that. But yeah, I think that's all the questions I had. I had a lot of fun talking to you.
I did too. I'm sorry my brain went on so many tangents, but that is 100% how it goes with me. I can't
I
rein it in.
love it.
I don't even
No,
try.
I think you did great. And it also made it easier so it wasn't just like question, 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 right? That's not That's not fun for anybody. Let's have a
And I really
conversation.
did like having this conversation. I feel like we don't talk about it enough, especially
Yeah.
like the whole the guilt behind everything and like why we are the way we are. I don't
Yes.
know. I think
Yeah.
it's an important
Yeah.
conversation to have.
Yeah. And to just normalize, I think we've talked about this before, but just normalizing that this isn't easy. This isn't like intuitive. It's not something you're just born knowing how to keep a house perfectly,
Right.
like it's okay to show a little struggle.
Right?
So, all right.
Thank you
Well,
so much for having me, babe. I really
yes,
appreciate it.
everybody, if you're not already, I think a lot of you who are here right now live are already part of Beth's crew, Feral Tradwife. But if you're not and you're watching this at any time, please check her channel out. It's amazing. It's fun. If you like what I do, you'll probably like what she does. And yeah, thanks for watching.
Thank you so much. Bye, babe.
Bye.